It's actually, oh no. What's up everyone? Nick here from Nick's Coffee Studio, and I promised I'd be back with a more in-depth review of this Meraki Espresso Machine. And I think it's good timing that you guys will be seeing this today, because today is the day it launches on Kickstarter. And that's very exciting for a number of different reasons. So today I'm just going to go through a more in-depth one. If you haven't seen the first video, find it there. I'll do a, never know where to point, somewhere up there. You'll be able to see the first video where I give you guys a sort of an overview of this machine, but in this video it's going to be a little bit more in depth. So let's get into it. For those of you who haven't heard about the Meraki Espresso Machine yet, this is it. And it's an eye catcher for sure. It's got a really rich feature list, and for the price point that it's selling at, I think right now it's on the Kickstarter campaign for just over $1,000 US. It's got a lot for the money. And in today's video, what we're going to answer is, should you back this on Kickstarter? So I'm going to break down the video today into a few different parts. We'll kind of just break it down into its individual components, I guess. First one's going to be the grinder, then the group and the actual, you know, happy bit where the stuff comes out, and then the steam wand as well. Another thing to mention is there's two scales with this, and they are dual independent scales, one for the grinder and one for extraction. And then it comes with some stuff. So we've got a tamping station, we've got a really lovely tamper, we've got a distributor, and then we've got the portafilter itself. The portafilter is actually one of my favorite parts. The portafilter is really solid. It's got spouts that detach, so you've got a little rubber gasket that goes around there and holds it in place, so you can be bottomless and you can do spouted. The handle on this one is wood. The earlier iterations of this had a plastic handle, which didn't last too long, but this one's wood and it is solid wood, so that's a really nice feature. I really like the wood grain in it as well. You get a milk pitcher with a nice Meraki branded logo down on the bottom. Nice milk pitcher. It's a milk pitcher. Just comparing it to another milk pitcher I have that I got from AliExpress. Basically identical. The handle on the Meraki one is a little bit thicker and just feels a little bit more solid, but not much in the way of difference. And then you get some beans. I'm not sure if they're going to be shipping out beans with their Kickstarter orders, but essentially what we've got here is an RFID tag on the bottom of the bean bag. And well, I'll get to that in a bit, but essentially you're able to just pop it on the top. It's going to read what beans they are, and it's going to give you recommendations on grind size, water temperature, dose, all of that sort of thing. It is very much all in one. Nothing detaches, it doesn't come apart. It's all integrated, it's all put together. You've got a screen at the top, which is a really, really nice screen. I've been using this machine now for the last week, and the screen is just a joy to use. I'd say almost on par with the smartphone screen. But where this machine stands out is kind of not what you see on the outside, it's what goes on the inside. So we've got dual boiler, dual PID, so you can independently control temperatures of both the milk and the group. And one of the really standout features is that it is a rotary pump. Now, rotary pumps typically are really expensive to manufacture, found in really high-end machines. They've managed to get one in here, and it is so quiet. We'll have a listen to it making an espresso in a bit, but it's so quiet. It just means that in the mornings when, if you're like me, I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I want to make a coffee, I'm not disturbing anyone. The grinder is very quiet as well, much quieter than the fellow Opus behind me, so that's a really good point to the grinder there. Generally speaking, this machine is, it's not silent, but it's very, very quiet. Dimensions wise, it's 370 mil that way, 370 mil this way, so essentially it is a big square. And up to the top of the screen, it's 415. It is heavy. It's like 15 kilos heavy. So you wouldn't be just picking this up and moving it around the place. It kind of just needs its spot and it'll stay there. Now, before I go any further, I should explain that this is a prototype model that I was sent by Meraki. So I didn't pay for this. They sent it out. They wanted me to have a look at it, basically give it a run over, do a review, share it with you guys, and, well, help you guys decide whether you should back it on Kickstarter or not. So this isn't the exact model that's going to go out to you guys. However, I will say that this is a very, very close prototype. I mean, it's working really well. There's a couple of niggles here and there, stuff that didn't work for me, stuff that I feel like is definitely needs a bit of improvement. But overall, I've been using this machine now for 1 week and I've made some really tasty espressos from it. It's just a joy to use. And that's, I think, really important from a tactile perspective, to be able to really enjoy using your espresso machine and not only enjoying the coffee, but the process that goes into it. What I wanted to do is I'm going to make a couple of drinks and I'm going to share how that looks with you, what the workflow looks like, and what the results look like. So let's turn it on. Startup time, not exactly the fastest. So you can see a couple of seconds. Then it makes that nice noise and it's just nice. You can hear it starting to heat up. The boilers are doing their jobs. So the screen's going to display most of your information. Now there are some paddles on it that, you know, you can use manually. On the grinder, you've got your grind size selection tab. You've got a tab on the top here that's just basically an on off. Yes, I would love it if that was a flow control tab. Not yet, maybe in future versions. And then on the steam wand, you've got your on off as well. Most of the stuff that you're going to interact with, however, is going to be on the screen. And I've actually found myself using the screen more than the tabs. The tabs are great if you just want to flush out some of the water from the machine. On off, and that's great. But for the most part, I've been using the screen. So let's talk about the grinder first. The grinder was co-developed by Timemore, and in my eyes, that's a really good thing. Timemore have been making some really decent grinders lately. So I really like that they've gone down the route of partnering with the experts when it comes to grinders, right? Grinders can be very difficult to get right. So co-developing it with Timemore, in my eyes, was a really smart move. If we click on the grinder in the screen selection up here, we've got two different versions of grind, right? So we've got manual grind. So you just hit grind and it's going to grind out by weight. So you can see your weight displayed here. That's going to be measured by the scales. And you then can also do auto grind. So if you want to just grind out 18 grams, or if you want to grind out 20 grams, 21 grams, whatever it might be, you can set how much coffee grinds you want and hit OK and auto grind it. And it's going to stop then once it hits that 18 grams. You've got your grind size indicator here. So if I move that left and right, you'll see that it goes more coarse, more fine. And Meraki did tell me that the grinder and the screen, they haven't really been calibrated yet. So the numbers on the screen don't necessarily correlate to the numbers on the grinder. However, mine have been pretty good, right? So I'm on 18 on the screen here and it does show 18 then on the grinder. Another thing about the grinder is we've got a deionizer in the grinder. So there's an ion beam there. So it makes the grinds a little bit more fluffy and make sure that you don't get any clumping going on. And actually the grinds that have been coming out of this have been really well sorted out. They're fluffy, they're not clumpy, and it's doing its job. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to. In terms of retention, there's very little, and that's a really good sign as well. What I've been doing after my grind is complete, I just give the top a little tap and then that knocks out any remaining grounds that have just been stuck there in the chute. But overall, retention has been really, really good. And that's a big positive for me because the fellow Opus, sometimes I just want to throw it out the window. It comes with a really nice 58 ml dosing cup, which fits just like straight onto your portafilter. And it's also magnetic, so you just pop it back into place. Now I am missing a cover that was supposed to be on top of the grinder scale here. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. All right, that's the grinder, I think, sorted. Oh yeah, one other thing about the grinder, which I find really, really interesting is if you twist the hopper off, it's actually, oh no. Live video. It's got these little doors. So when you do click it into place, the doors will open and allow the beans to go through. And when you take it off, those doors close. So you're not going to make a mess and just keeps your beans in place. I really like that feature. So if we just click it back in, that has now opened those doors and allows the beans to go through. Once the hopper has been put back on, you're going to get a notification saying, please install the bean chamber correctly. And you can confirm. And then we're back to grind menu. So if we now go into brew, you can see that right now I'm set on 36. So we can change that if you want. And if we can go right down, let's see where we go to, right all the way down. The first one is 10 grams. So you can brew by weight from 10 grams, looks like all the way up to 99 grams. That's a big espresso. That's like a double lungo. Anyway, so you can go all the way up. And what's really cool about this is once you get to, I think it's 20 grams, it's going to pop up and it's going to say ristretto. So you actually get a little readout of what type of drink it is. And I think if you keep going, we get to 30 grams and now it's saying espresso. And if we keep going again, keep going, lungo, it sort of starts from about 45. That's really cool. I don't know how necessary it is, but it's pretty cool. Let's go back. Let's put it down to 36. I'm an 18 in, 36 out kind of guy. But what we can also do is we can change brew temperature. So we can go anything all the way down to the bottom one is 85. And we can bring that right up then to 96. Now that's going to cover you for most types of beans, whether you're light roast or dark roast, so not an issue there. Now, one big question that I've been asked about this machine is, does it have pre-infusion? And the answer to that is unfortunately not at the moment. You can't even just press it on and then turn it off for a couple of seconds and then start it again because it does have a 3-way solenoid valve. So if we go back out of the brew menu, we've also got our steam menu. So we've got first one here, which is basically deciding between strong, medium, and mild. And then if we go back, we've also got a temperature readout. So we can decide when we want to stop. If you wanted to stop at 60 degrees Celsius, or if you wanted to stop at 65, you can get the steam one to just stop steaming at any of these particular temperatures. If you want to go in and have a look at the menu, we've got a little slide down. And this is what I mean about it basically being like a smartphone screen. It's just really nice to use. There's no lag, everything just works. Only thing I'd say is that the screen material is a little bit sticky and it does tend to attract dust. But I mean, it's not the worst thing. It's just one of those little niggly things. But if you just give it a quick wipe down each morning, absolutely fine, no issues. So if we go into our menu here, we've got Wi-Fi settings, so we can set up with a wireless network to get software updates. We've got cleaning, so we've got backflush. It does come with a backflush basket, which is somewhere. And it gives you instructions then on how to do the actual backflush. You've got a timer, so you can have preset preheat times. So you can add a few of them in here. I've got ones in Tuesday and Thursday. I only go to the office on those days. And I've got it set for 7:05 just before I leave the house. So I've got a delicious coffee before I go. Otherwise, I'm just coming up and I'm turning the machine on. It heats up really quick, actually. So that's never an issue. I mean, we're talking like less than 2-3 minutes. So not an issue. It's got a bean reset button, which I'm going to come back to in a minute. It's got a scales function, so you can click onto the scales and this now becomes your scale. And you also have then hot water. And that's a pretty cool feature. If I just give you guys a little show of that, 99-degree water, and hit go, you'll see that there's a little spout just in behind the group. And now that is pouring out water. So the bean reset button obviously is going to come into effect when we are using our RFID tags. Say that fast a few times. RFID tags with the machine. So if I just pop this on top, nothing happens. Nothing happens because I was in the menu. Right, let's try that again. I'm going to go back to reset and let's put these beans on top. It also makes a really reassuring noise. Like someone actually spent time thinking about what noise this machine was going to make when it turned on and when you put the RFID tag on the top. Someone thought about what noise to make. And I just think it's a really reassuring noise. It's like, I know what I'm doing. I got you. I really like it. So if we put our beans on the top, it's going to show you that they are Meraki number 3. It's going to give you the roast date. It's going to show you that they are from Brazil. It's going to keep making this noise if I don't take it off. But it's also going to show you the tasting notes. It's going to show you that it is a blend and that it is a medium roast. And I just think that's really cool. I mean, it's going to take a while for roasters around the world to kind of get on board with, number one, actually producing these RFID tags to put on the bottom of their beans. But it's a good idea. And I think if more roasters were to adopt this around the world, it would make the brewing process with this even more simple. So good point. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be for a while. So right now, we are in the menu for Meraki 3 for these particular beans. So if we went into Grinder now, it's going to give you the settings it thinks are the best for this particular bean. So it's now deciding that it wants me to put it on number 18 in terms of grind size, and it's also telling me that 19 grams is the optimum for this particular bean. If I go back here and I go into brew, it's going to tell me that I should be brewing at 89 degrees Celsius, and it's telling me that I should have 36 grams out. And I can just hit play and it's going to do all of those things for me. And for steam, for this particular bean, it's saying 59 degrees Celsius and strong steam. Interesting. I mean, it's a really nice idea to be able to have preloaded settings with these RFID tags. I just wish more roasters would actually do it. Now, it kind of takes away from the fun of dialing in your beans, dialing in everything. I mean, sometimes that's fun. Other times it's a bit of a nightmare, right? If you're in a rush. So I can see why they wanted to do it, and I'm on board. I just think we need to get more roasters on board. Okay, and I think that is pretty much everything when it comes to the interface and how we interact with it. So another thing I've noticed over the last week or so of using this machine is just generally around the build quality. And I'm pleasantly surprised by it. It doesn't feel like a prototype. This feels like an actual production machine. There are a couple of things that have kind of annoyed me, but overall the user experience on this machine has been absolutely brilliant, and I've really, really enjoyed using it every morning. Couple of things. Number one, the Wi-Fi never worked for me, so I haven't been able to see if there have been any software updates. Now, I'm not sure if this is a Wi-Fi issue in my house or if it is a machine issue. I have a dual band router, so I'm running off 2.4 and 5 gigahertz networks, and that should connect to this machine. I've also tried it with hotspots and that didn't work. Tried it with a variety of phones, with Android, with Apple, and it still didn't work. So it's telling me it's the machine, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that for now. Another little niggle is the bean hopper lid, which I think should fit a little bit better. It's just a little bit wiggly. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, it's obviously going to keep the beans fresher if it was a tighter fit. But number two is when you actually do go to grind, this kind of vibrates and it makes quite a bit more noise. If you just put your finger on it while it's grinding, it stops that noise happening and it's much more pleasant. The paddle on the front here is just, it doesn't feel like it's going to come off. It doesn't feel like it's going to break, but it's just not the same as the paddle on the steam wand. And that's kind of weird because the steam paddle is much more solid and it just doesn't move around. It feels a lot more solid. Other little niggles, there's not much. I mean, it's got a big water tank. I've had to refill it twice and that's okay. I'm happy enough to do that. You can't plumb it in, which I don't think it's going to be a big issue for many people because there's great access to the back of it. I mean, I've got cups on the top now, but you can just take off the lid and it's very accessible. Another thing that I think might be a little bit annoying for extended use over the space of a couple of months or even years is that the shape of this inherently means that it's going to be quite difficult to clean. And I've already got some splatter in on the grinder. It's just it's going to be difficult to get into all those nooks and crannies to make sure that everything is as clean as it could be. And I'm a bit of a clean freak, so I'm not sure how annoying that's going to be over time. But overall, those are my only real niggles at the moment. The steam wand is cool touch, which is pretty cool, and it's on this ball joint, so you can move it around whichever way you want. What's really nice about this is that it's got a temperature sensor right down in the tip here. So that's what's reading the temperature of the milk and then displaying it on the screen as you steam. There are 3 steam holes down at the bottom, and they are jets pointing directly outwards, as you can probably see here. And the steam is good. It's good steam. Dry steam. And the steam power is actually really, really strong. Makes a good noise as well. So if we just try and steam a little bit here, there's a little bit of water in this jug. You'll see your temperature readout then on the screen. The portafilter is such a lovely portafilter that it's kind of let down by this very plasticky molded thing. It's nice that they included it. I think that the inclusion of this really kind of makes a statement that they want this to be something that you only need this. This is all you need in an espresso machine, and that's it. And that's why I think as well that they've gone with giving a distributor and a tamper as well. It's just a bit plasticky. Would have been nice if it was made out of the same wood as on the handle. But let's make a coffee and let's see what this thing is all about. So we're going to go back here. We're going to reset our beans because I've already got some beans in the grinder. And we're going to go grinder, and we're going to go 18 grams, and we're going to go grind. It's pretty quick as well when it comes to grinding. Much faster than the fellow Opus. And that's it. And if we just give it a little tap, grinds look really good, very fluffy, no clumping. So let's get them into the portafilter. So we're just going to use the distributor, give it a few spins. I think the depth of this needs to be changed, but that's okay because you can go in and you can change the depth of it. Okay, and then let's tamp. Now, let's lock this in. Weird doing it from this direction. That does sound a little scratchy, but apparently it's one of the things that they're working on at the moment, and that is only going to be an issue on the prototype. So we're locked in. Let's get a cup, put it on our scale, and then we're going to hit brew. So I'm going to leave it at, I'm going to do 92 degrees Celsius and 36 grams out. Make sure we're underneath there correctly, and I'm just going to hit play. Really quiet pump. Like I can whisper, and it's very, very quiet. So you're going to get a readout on the screen of how many grams has come out and the time as well. So let's see where we end up with this. And it says enjoy the coffee making process or experience. It's gone now. Right, so we got 36 grams out in 29 seconds. So that's pretty good. Yep. I've been using these beans for the last few days, and that is dialed in really well. Really nice crema. Let's try. I've been using the Flair 58 for a long time now. I've also been using the classic Gaggia, and this is just better. It's just better. And keep in mind here, we're still using the stock basket. I haven't swapped out the basket. We're just using the Meraki branded one. There's a lot of room as well, I think, for improvement on this. So as a baseline, this is really, really strong. Strong as in good, not strong as in coffee. This is a medium roast, so not so strong. I'm really happy with that. Okay, let's do it again and let's steam some milk. Before I steam milk, I should let you know that this machine is the first machine I have ever steamed milk with properly. The Gaggia that's sitting behind me, never used it. I actually had plumbed out the steam wand out to the back of the machine and into a tank because I wanted to use the steam knob as a sort of a flow control, pressure control kind of thing. So this is the first time I've ever really been steaming milk. Okay, so let's do this again. Let's go grinder, 18 grams. The consistency of the grinds has actually been really, really good. Comparatively to the fellow Opus behind me, I think this grinder is better by a couple of steps. And you can really taste the difference. It's just got a lot more clarity in it. It's still a conical burr. It's a 48mm conical burr, but it does a really, really good job. And if this is the prototype and things haven't been quite calibrated yet, I can only assume that it's going to get better. I forgot to mention, it does actually come with a nice Meraki barista cloth, which is always very handy. So let's get another cup. And we're going to go brew and 36 grams out at 92 degrees again. So a couple of things to mention before we pull this shot. The group in this particular model is aluminium and it does heat up with the machine. So you will have a heated portafilter. In the actual production model, it will be a stainless steel 304 stainless steel group. Okay, let's pull the shot. But actually, let's do the milk at the same time. Why not? I'm not going to use this jug. The reason for that is because it is a little bit too small. So we're going to use this Normcore one because this is just a little bit bigger. My experience, maybe it's me, maybe I'm just being an idiot, but I just found the milk kind of overflowed and that wasn't fun. So we're going to use this one. I've been getting some sort of good results with this one, so we're going to do that. So let me just go and grab some milk. Oh, please forgive me if this goes horribly wrong, but we're going to try and we'll see how it goes. So we're going to start pulling our shot. Now what you'll see actually before I start, you'll see that the shot will start. I'm going to start the milk and you'll actually see a readout for both of the things that are happening at the same time. So the extraction is going to show you the weight of what's being extracted and the milk temperature up the top is going to show you its own display. So they display in unison, which is really, really cool. Okay, so play. And that is 49 degrees, 53 degrees, 56, 57. Lovely. Right. How is this milk? Maybe not the best, but we're going to try anyway. All right. Wish me luck. I mean, it's not the worst. I'm pretty happy with that. Overall, the texture of the milk has been really good. I am a complete noob to this. So only in the last week have I been steaming milk. And if I can do it, you guys can do it. So if you've never steamed milk, you're a little bit intimidated by the whole idea of steaming milk, here's your proof. It is doable and you can learn very, very quick. It's not perfect by any shape or means. The milk texture itself definitely can be better. The latte art can be better, but it's not bad. It's not bad for the first week of trying. So should you go out and buy one of these? Should you back it on Kickstarter? If you're like me and you've been using maybe a manual espresso machine or you've been using something a little bit older and you want to upgrade, yes, you should buy it. It's really really well designed. I think it looks great. It pulls really tasty espresso. The steam is excellent. It is really well sorted out when it comes to the interface. Everything just sort of works really well. I'm really impressed by this machine. In fact, it's going to stay on my coffee bar and I'm going to use it daily because it's just such a joy to use. Now, I wanted to just touch on what the differences are between this prototype model and what would be sent out to you guys from the Kickstarter campaign. Grind size reading yet to be calibrated. That's absolutely fine. Not too worried about that. Grinder operation noise is louder than usual by a few decibels. If it can get quieter, all the better. That's great. Bean hopper and water tank plastic covers are slightly undersized. And like I was saying earlier, if that was just a little bit bigger, it would be absolutely perfect. So that's going to be changed in the final production model. Generally speaking, this is just going to be a little bit more polished. There are a couple of things though when it comes to the materials list. So the grinder spout right now is a food grade aluminium alloy and it will be 304 stainless steel. The group head, like I mentioned earlier, at the moment is an aluminium one and it will be 304 stainless steel. Most things are going to basically stay the same though, and I'm okay with that because it's well put together, it's well built. Even the pieces that heat up, it's all made of ABS plastic. So by the time you do see this video, the Kickstarter campaign will be live. I'll leave a link to it down below. I hope this has helped you guys make your decision. So until next time, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you in the next video.